On Monday, Microsoft announced their new AI-powered PCs and a ton of new AI features that will be integrated into Windows. So if you're not aware of this, watch this video first. But then the next day, they held their multi-day event, which is called Microsoft Build. Now, this is mostly for developers, but during the event, they made a ton of additional exciting announcements regarding AI. Now, the whole event is over 20 hours long, and they jam-packed it with a ton of technical stuff and new product names such as Team Copilot, Copilot Studio, Phi3 Vision, Microsoft Fabric, and more, just to make you even more confused. And do you remember this guy? Well, Microsoft also announced a series of partnerships, including one with Devin AI. So as always, in this video, I'm going to go over all the highlights of this event and explain everything in easy to understand terms. Let's jump right in.
And we're not stopping there. We are adding not just large language models, but we're also leading the small language revolution, small language model revolution. You know, our Phi3 family of SLMs are the most capable and most cost-effective. They outperform models of the same size or the next size up even across a variety of language, reasoning, coding, as well as math benchmarks. If you think about it, by performance to parameter count ratio, it's truly best in class. And today we are adding new models to the Phi3 family to add even more flexibility across that quality cost curve. We're introducing Phi3 Vision, a 4.2 billion parameter multimodal model with language and vision capabilities. It can be used to reason over real-world images or generate insights and answer questions about images, as you can see right here. Yeah. And we're also making a 7 billion parameter Phi3 small and a 14 billion parameter Phi3 medium models available. With Phi, you can build apps that span the web, your Android, iOS, Windows, and the edge. They can take advantage of local hardware when available and fall back on the cloud when not, simplifying really all of what we as developers have to do to support multiple platforms using one AI model.
Now, earlier this year, Microsoft announced the Phi3 family. This is a series of small language models. In contrast to larger models like GPT or Claude or Gemini, which has hundreds of billions of parameters to over 1 trillion parameters, small language models are often less than 10 billion parameters, so they are less computationally intensive. The biggest benefit to this is you can have these small language models running locally on a phone or a laptop. You don't need to connect to the cloud, you don't need internet or an API, it's just a local AI built into your device. Now, the Phi3 family consists of various models. The Phi3 Mini is the smallest model at 3.8 billion parameters. And then we also have the Phi3 Small, which is 7 billion parameters, and Phi3 Medium, which is 14 billion parameters. And then just this week, Microsoft announced Phi3 Vision. This is a new multimodal model which is 4.2 billion parameters. And in addition to text, it can also understand and analyze images. So here's where it can be useful. This could potentially be an AI model that runs directly in your smartphone, and you can simply point your camera at something and ask the AI what it is. And on the note of Phi3, it's also worth mentioning Microsoft's other small language model called Orca Math, which they released a few months ago. This model is fine-tuned to solve math problems, and they claim that this tiny model even outperforms larger models like Google's Gemini Pro, at least in solving math problems.
And as OpenAI innovates, our promise is that we will bring all that innovation to Azure too. In fact, the same day that OpenAI announced GPT-4o, we made the model available for testing on Azure OpenAI service. And today, I'm excited to say that it's generally available on Azure AI.
So here they announced that GPT-4o will be available in Azure AI Studio. Now, Azure AI Studio is basically Microsoft's cloud-based platform that allows developers to train or build AI applications easily. So for example, you can easily add AI-powered features to whatever you're building. Now, GPT-4o is OpenAI's newest and best model. It has true multimodal capabilities, so it can analyze and output either text, audio, or images. So by having this available in Azure AI Studio, developers can quickly leverage this AI model in their applications.
You know, what this means though is that now we can have these groundbreaking apps that all of you can build using this capability. One of the coolest things is that now any app, any website can essentially be turned into a full multimodal, full duplex conversational canvas. Let's take a look.
All right, let me ask the agent here.
Hey, Seth. How's it going? What can I help you with today?
I am fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm in such a hurry. I'm going to go on an overnight camping hike where we're camping all this. It's going to be dark, cold. Should I use these shoes? It's the mountains. It's probably going to be cold.
Great, no worries. Let me take a look. Those are the Trek Star hiking sandals. While they're fantastic for summer hikes and keeping your feet cool, they might not be the best choice for cold
mountain. Oh my goodness.
So,
okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Pick the best thing that I should use, and can you just add it to my cart? Just one product.
No worries. Let's go with the Trek Ready hiking boots. They're durable, provide great ankle support, and most importantly, they'll keep your feet warm in the cold mountains. I'll add them to your cart now.
Oh,
ready for checkout?
I see that. Amazing. Muchísimas gracias. Espero que me vaya bien en el campamento.
De nada, Seth. Disfruta de tu campamento y mantente caliente con esas botas. Buena suerte y diviértate en las montañas.
So on Monday, they showcased this demo where Copilot could analyze what's happening on the screen in real time and guide the person on how to play Minecraft. Well, here they're showing another demonstration. This time, it's helping this person purchase something from an e-commerce site. And the really cool thing about this is not only is it just responding to questions, but somehow this assistant actually helped him add the item to his cart. So it seems like this Copilot can do certain actions in your browser. Plus, near the end, the person switched from English to Spanish, and you can see that the AI was able to adapt to this and respond back in Spanish.
Another thing that I'm super excited about is the work that Cognition has been doing. So Scott and the Cognition team are also here with us today. We have just recently announced a partnership between Microsoft and Cognition. Their product, Devin, is like an absolutely amazing tool. So like if you can imagine for yourself like some of the most tedious things that you do as an engineer or software developer, Devin is a tool designed to help you with those tasks. Like I can't even tell you all the number of times as an engineering leader or as an engineer that I've had to write code or lead teams writing code for doing things like replatforming and application. And like replatforming is like one of the laws of physics of like how we build software systems. Like it's a thing that must be done, but like, it's rare that an engineer really enjoys doing that. And so like the incredible work that Devin is doing on top of these incredibly powerful tools is just really extraordinary. And we're super excited to be partnering with them and to bring all of the power of what they're doing to Azure and having their systems and infrastructure run on Azure.
So here, Microsoft announced a partnership with Cognition AI to bring their AI agent called Devin to Azure to help people with coding. If you haven't heard of Devin, this is basically an autonomous AI agent that helps you code. It's like an autonomous software engineer. But what I think is even more interesting is the team that built Devin. Definitely check out this video if you haven't watched it already. The team that built Devin is basically a bunch of super smart mathletes that have won tons of gold medals in the International Math Olympics. They're world-class at both math and coding. Now, Devin was unveiled a few months ago, and it still hasn't been released to the public yet, so there has been some speculation on whether or not this is legit. But now, with Microsoft partnering with them, there does seem to be some legitimacy with this. I mean, Devin has to work to some extent, or else Microsoft wouldn't be willing to integrate it with Azure, right? So anyways, this is a huge partnership for the Devin team. The future is looking good for them. And what this means for folks who use Azure, you're soon going to have this AI software engineer assistant to help you write and format and debug code.
Yeah, some of y'all know how Khan Academy got started. If you go almost 20 years ago, it started with me tutoring a cousin. I was a hedge fund analyst at the time. I tutor one cousin, word spreads in my family, free tutoring is going on. Before I know it, I'm tutoring 10, 15 cousins. And I start writing tools for them, software. I started making videos. That's what a lot of people know about Khan Academy. And if you think about that journey from then till now, even right before we started really working on generative AI, everything we've been doing is how could you scale that type of personalization that I was originally doing with my cousin Nadia? And we were approximating it with software and videos and teacher tools. But to some degree, we were going to asymptote on how far you could get with pre-generative AI tools. And then when we saw it, it was really GPT-4 that opened our mind. Greg and Sam from OpenAI showed it to us end of summer 2022. And we realized there's things that had to be worked out, but it could get that much closer to emulating what a real tutor would do. And it was obvious that it could also be used as a cheating tool, and you have to worry about safety and privacy, especially with under 18 users. But I told the team, let's turn those into features, let's put the guardrails on it, because this could get us that much closer to our mission, which is free world-class education. What we realized at Khan Academy, there is a subset of students that if you give them the tool, and it sounds like you're lucky enough to have a daughter like that, they will run with it. But what you really need in most cases is you need caring adults, primarily teachers, in the room, motivating students, driving that usage. And so what we're really excited about this partnership, and this is a big deal. I want to make sure, we are using state-of-the-art models that use real compute. It has real cost associated with it. When we launched Khanmigo, and which is still out there, and it's a tutor for students, it's a teaching assistant for teachers. But what we're launching today as part of this partnership is these state-of-the-art teacher tools we're going to be able to give free to every teacher in the United States so that they can get productivity improvements.
Yeah, big deal.
Big deal. I actually think teaching will be the first mainstream profession to really benefit from generative AI, lesson planning, progress reports, grading papers, et cetera, et cetera. And I think if we can win teachers' hearts and minds, then it gives us that much a better chance of also being able to reach students.
And then here, Microsoft has announced a partnership with Khan Academy to offer free access to this AI teaching assistant called Khanmigo. Now, this guy is the founder of Khan Academy. His name is Sal Khan, and he was actually also in one of the GPT-4o demos by OpenAI last week, where he showcased how the real-time voice assistant could help his son learn and solve a math problem. But anyways, back to this Microsoft event, they announced that they will be offering this Khanmigo for free to every teacher in the US. So pretty soon, every teacher will have this AI assistant to help them teach. Now, I hope that eventually they'll offer this to the rest of the world and not just the US, because I'm sure a lot of other countries, especially developing countries, would really benefit from this. Thanks to our sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in math, data analysis, programming, and AI. It's a very effective way to learn. Their first principles approach helps you understand things from the ground up. And all the content is designed by teachers and experts from MIT, Caltech, Duke, Microsoft, Google, and more. Each lesson has hands-on problem solving. So instead of just watching lecture videos, you actually learn to solve the problems yourself. And this is proven to be 6 times more effective in learning. And the best thing is, you don't need to do this full time. You can commit just minutes per day and still learn effectively. They have a very flexible schedule. Their course on how LLMs work really helped me get a solid understanding of, how LLMs work. Try Brilliant for free for a full 30 days via the link in the description below. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Now back to the video.
So while you all have been out there, grinding away, building really extraordinary things over the past year with all of these AI tools that are coming, we've been hard at work trying to make forward progress on our AI platform. So we talked a lot about how we're optimizing the current frontier, making things cheaper and making them more powerful and complete. But we've also been hard at work building new supercomputing infrastructure and working with our partners at OpenAI to push that frontier forward. And we showed this slide at the beginning, there's this really beautiful relationship right now between the sort of exponential progression of compute that we're applying to building the platform, to the capability and power of the platform that we get. And I just wanted to, sort of without mentioning numbers, which is sort of hard to do, to give you all an idea of the scaling of these systems. So in 2020, we built our first AI supercomputer for OpenAI. It's the supercomputing environment that trained GPT-3. And so, we're going to just choose marine wildlife as our scale marker. So you can think of that system about as big as a shark. So the next system that we built, scale-wise, is about as big as an Orca, and like that is the system that we delivered in 2022 that trained GPT-4. The system that we have just deployed is like scale-wise about as big as a whale relative to the shark-sized supercomputer and this orca-sized supercomputer. And it turns out like you can build a whole hell of a lot of AI with a whale-sized supercomputer. I just want everybody to really, really be thinking clearly about, and this is going to be our segue to talking with Sam, is the next sample is coming. So like this whale-sized supercomputer is hard at work right now building the next set of capabilities that we're going to put into your hands so that you all can do the next round of amazing things with it.
So this is the CTO of Microsoft, and he mentioned that the system that they just deployed is a whale-sized supercomputer in comparison with the previous system, which is only the size of an orca. Now, he didn't give exact numbers, but if we do the math here, or in fact, let me just ask ChatGPT, how much bigger is a whale compared to an orca? So in terms of length, it's 3 times longer. In terms of weight, it's 33 times heavier. But anyways, this doesn't really matter. The point of this chart here is that it's exponential growth. You can see that it's curving up. The performance of these AI models just keep getting exponentially better generation after generation. And at least for now, there doesn't seem to be any limit. We haven't hit any plateau yet. So we can expect GPT-5 to be way smarter than GPT-4, and then GPT-6 would be even smarter than that.
And so with that, I'd like to bring Sam Altman to the stage. Hey, good to see you.
You too.
So, you are one of the busiest people on the planet.
Wild week.
It's a wild week. It's a wild year, man.
Yeah.
But so I really appreciate you taking time out to chat with us today. So I guess what I really wanted to start our conversation about, and like I asked you this question last week, is, there's just been an extraordinary amount of change over the past year and a half, year. Like, what has been the thing that has surprised you most, like particularly relevant to an audience of developers?
Yeah. I mean, I'm delighted to be here. And obviously, great to see you, but developers have been such a core part of what's been happening this last year and a half. There's millions of people building on the platform. What people are doing is totally amazing. And the speed of adoption and talent and figuring out what to build with all of this over what has really not been very long. Like when we put GPT-3 out in the API, some people thought it was cool, but it was narrow where the utility happened. And seeing what people have done with GPT-4 and seeing now what's happening with GPT-4o, even though it's new and hasn't been out that long, is quite remarkable. I've never seen a technology get adopted so quickly in such a meaningful way. What people are building, how people are finding out how to do things that we never even thought of possible, which is why it's always great to have an API. That's been very cool to see. We try to be really thoughtful about what makes a good API for this. There's going to be all kinds of ways people can use this, but the more this can just be a layer that gets built into every product, every service, the better. And we've tried to make it such that if you want to add intelligence to whatever you're doing, any product, any service, we make that very easy. The most boring, obvious, trite thing I can say, but I think it's actually much deeper than it sounds. The most important thing is that the models are just going to get smarter, generally across the board. There'll be a lot of other things too, which we can talk about, but if you think about what happened from GPT-3 to 3.5 to 4, it just got smarter. Yep. And you could use it for all these things. It got a little more robust, it got much safer, both because the model got smarter and we put much more work into building the safety tools around it. It got more useful. But the underlying capability, this amazing emergent property of like we actually are seeming to increase the general capability of the model across the board, that's going to keep happening. An amazing new technology, which I would bias, but we'll put AI in that category, it doesn't get you out of the hard work of building a great product or a great company or a great service. You still have to do it. AI alone is a new enabler, but it does not automatically break the rules of business. And so you can use this as like a new thing to do, but you still have to figure out how you're going to build enduring value in whatever you're doing. And it's easy to lose sight of that in the excitement of the gold rush.
Then next, he invites Sam Altman on stage, but again, he didn't really give specific numbers or any specific details on upcoming plans at OpenAI. But the main takeaway here is that both Microsoft and OpenAI, they're focused on building these AI models. They're focused on building this underlying technology, which developers can then use to build real-world applications. So they're hoping that this AI model, this tech, will enable or empower developers to then create amazing things from it. But it's ultimately up to developers to make use of this technology to make a real-world impact.
We're also extending Copilot beyond a personal assistant to become a team assistant. I'm thrilled today to announce Team Copilot. You'll be able to invoke a Team Copilot wherever you collaborate in teams, right? It can be in Teams, it can be in Loop, it can be in Planner, and many other places. I mean, think about it, right? It can be your meeting facilitator when you're in Teams, creating agendas, tracking time, taking notes for you, or a collaborator writing chats, surfacing the most important information, tracking action items, addressing unresolved issues. And it can even be your project manager, ensuring that every project that you're working on as a team is running smoothly.
So here Satya introduces Team Copilot. I'm sure you're familiar with the regular Copilot, which is essentially an AI assistant like ChatGPT. So you can ask it questions, you can upload images and documents and ask questions about it. You can even get it to generate images or songs. Now that's just your personal AI assistant. Here, Satya introduces Team Copilot, which is basically an AI assistant, but for an entire team. So it's integrated with Microsoft 365 apps like Teams and Loop. It can act as a meeting facilitator and summarize meeting notes. It can also suggest follow-up tasks and actions and also keep track of time to ensure the meeting is on schedule. It can also act as a group moderator in chats in Microsoft Teams, plus it can answer questions about shared documents in the team. So think of this as like an AI project management assistant.
And we're not stopping there. With Copilot Studio, anyone can build Copilots that have agent capabilities and work on your behalf and independently and proactively orchestrate tasks for you. Simply provide your Copilot a job description or choose from one of our pre-made templates and equip it with the necessary knowledge and actions, and Copilot will work in the background and act asynchronously for you, right? That's, I think, one of the key things that's going to really change in the next year, where you're going to have Copilots plus agents with this async behavior. You can delegate authority to Copilots to automate long-running business processes. Copilot can even ask for help when it encounters situations that it does not know much about and it can't handle.
So here they announce the ability for you to create AI agents using Copilot Studio. Now, Copilot Studio is a platform that allows you to basically build your own version of Copilot. It's very similar to like building custom GPTs on OpenAI's platform or building gems in Google's platform. But anyways, back to Microsoft Copilot Studio. This is basically where you can build custom AI agents, which you pre-programmed to autonomously do certain things. And the best thing about this is it can proactively and automatically do things for you. So for example, it can help monitor your inbox, automate data entry, handle employee onboarding, and carry out other repetitive tasks without you having to prompt it every time. It just does all of it automatically. Now, of course, you also do have the option of having a human review everything before it proceeds, and this gives you more control and prevents it from going rogue.
We've also added AI capabilities to all of our operational stores, whether it's Cosmos DB or SQL or PostgreSQL. At the core, though, of the intelligent data platform is Microsoft Fabric. We now have over 11,000 customers, including leaders in every industry, who are using Fabric. It's fantastic to see the progress. With Fabric, you get everything you need in a single integrated SaaS platform. It's deeply integrated at its most fundamental level, with compute and storage being unified, your experience is unified, governance is unified, and more importantly, the business model is unified. And what's also great about Fabric is that it works with data anywhere, right? Not just on Azure, but it can be on AWS or on GCP or even on your on-premise data center. And today, we are taking the next step. We're introducing real-time intelligence in Fabric. Customers today have more and more of this real-time data coming from your IoT systems, your telemetry systems. In fact, cloud applications themselves are generating lots of data. But with Fabric, anyone can unlock actionable insights across all of your data estate.
So here Satya throws yet another product name. This time it's called Microsoft Fabric. This is basically an analytics and data platform designed for enterprises. It's a unified platform for various data services like data engineering, data warehousing, real-time analytics, data visualization, and more. And then he mentions this real-time hub, which is a feature in Fabric. This hub is like a central location for streaming data from various sources, and it allows enterprise customers to manage and analyze real-time data streams. And of course, Fabric also offers governance and security features, and this ensures, for example, data integrity, access control, and compliance across the platform. So basically, Microsoft Fabric is an integrated data analytics platform for enterprises with all the tools you need built in.
We're really thrilled to be announcing Github Copilot extensions. Now you can customize Github Copilot with capabilities from third-party services, whether it's Docker, Sentry, and many, many more. And of course, we have a new extension for Azure too, Github Copilot for Azure. You can instantly deploy to Azure to get information about your Azure resources just using natural language. And what Copilot did for coding, we're now doing for infra and ops.
So here he mentions adding extensions to GitHub Copilot. For those of you who aren't familiar with GitHub Copilot, and note that this is very different from Microsoft Copilot, which is your personal AI assistant. It's your ChatGPT, basically. GitHub Copilot is an AI coding assistant for developers. And then these extensions are a new feature which basically helps integrate GitHub Copilot with external platforms such as Azure, Docker, MongoDB, Sentry, Stripe, and more. And this is really useful because a software project usually uses different APIs and links to different platforms for multiple functions. So for example, you would link to the OpenAI API to use GPT, or you would link to Stripe for payment processing, or you could link to MongoDB as your backend database. There's just a lot of linkages with all these different platforms. So now with these new GitHub Copilot extensions, it really streamlines the developer experience. By simply chatting with the AI, the developer can prompt these external platforms to do all sorts of things without ever leaving their IDE. Finally, I want to mention more details about this new recall feature which they announced on Monday. This AI function basically takes snapshots of your activity while using Windows. You know how there's browser history for your internet browser? Well, this is browser history, but for your Windows operating system. So this recall feature records everything you do on your computer, including Zoom calls, websites you visited, things that you typed, videos that you've watched, etc. And it takes images of your screen every few seconds. So there is some value to this. You can use this feature to find content that you viewed in the past by simply asking the AI or scrolling through this timeline. But this is probably the most controversial feature that they've announced because obviously it raises privacy concerns. Now, Microsoft has confirmed that this recalled data is local and private on device. The user can also pause or stop the recording at any time or delete any content in the timeline. Plus, they could also exclude specific apps or websites from being recorded. However, even with all these controls, there are still concerns about potential vulnerabilities and privacy. So for example, someone with access to your Windows account could potentially use Recall to see everything you've done on your PC. So let me know what you think of this recall feature. Would you be willing to use it, or would you just completely turn it off? Anyways, that sums up the highlights of this Microsoft Build event. Again, note that the whole event lasted 3 days and is over 20 hours long. There are tons of details that I've left out either because it's just a minor thing or because it wasn't AI related. For example, they've also announced that custom emojis will be added to Microsoft Teams, which is basically Microsoft's version of Slack. Plus, the new File Explorer on Windows can have version control like Git Plus, there are more options for you to copy and paste things in different formats. But anyways, that sums up the highlights of this event. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. One of Microsoft's biggest competitor, at least for enterprise customers, is Google, and Google just held their I/O event last week. So what do you think of Google's offering versus Microsoft? Another big competitor is Apple, which has been strangely silent, at least when it comes to AI. They've recently scrapped their Apple Car project, which cost them billions of dollars, and it seems like they're now scrambling to catch up to the AI race. So do you think right now Microsoft has the competitive edge? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.